Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Welcome, happy Monday, and welcome to The Social. Why don't we kick off our day with this story? The Oxford English Dictionary has named their word of the year. Are you ready for it? The word of the year, according to them, is rage bait. Okay? So how do they define it? It is online content that is deliberately designed to elicit anger by being frustrating, provocative, or offensive. And it's all done to increase traffic and engagement online. So let's react to this word of the year. Do we agree? Do we disagree? What do you think, ladies?
I don't like it, but I feel it right now as a collective. I feel like every time I'm in the car, I can tell that someone behind the wheel next to me, around me, is filled with rage. Every time I'm on the subway walking around, I just see it a lot, and you can tell. People are locked in on their phones, they're seeing all this stuff, and then they're out in the world. The one thing that dawned on me, though, is right before I went on my burnout leave, what I was feeling was consistent rage. I was angry at everything. I felt like the injustices of the world were just like, I just couldn't handle anything. I was very angry. But then I collapsed into a puddle of tears. So I wonder, as a society, are we about to collapse?
We need a good cry?
We need a good cry. We need a good cry and a good hug. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's interesting that you didn't actually see the rage, but you saw the effects of the rage, so to speak. Because I feel the same way when I was thinking about this, being like, I haven't heard that term used, I don't think the whole year. And I don't think I've participated or been targeted, but I think what I'm actually seeing is actual news. Do you know what I mean? Like actual headlines rather than things that are targeted at me to create rage.
So you think
the news is just rage baiting, you know, like without intent, without being manufactured.
And you know what? Let's be specific about that news. You're talking about Donald Trump in the news has been rage baiting us. I think Oxford University got this so right with this term. All that's missing is a picture of Donald Trump right next to it, because ever since he was sworn in earlier this year for his second term, it feels like it's just been rage bait after rage bait, whether he's going after his allies or the press, or putting a picture of himself as the Pope. Remember that one?
Oh, God.
That's rage baiting, right? Telling a reporter, quiet piggy, that's rage baiting. But I'll tell you what my guilty pleasure is. There's one California governor by the name of Gavin Newsom who has been rage baiting Donald Trump, and I'll tell you, it's been my favorite thing all year. Whoever's in charge of his social media needs to get a raise. Here are some of my favorites. I think we have our first one. Do you remember the cover of Time magazine? There was that shot.
We have to blur that?
Because people said that it looked like a part of the female anatomy, so Gavin Newsom blurted out like he's rage baiting. I don't like Donald Trump's rage baiting, but I am in love with Newsom's rage baiting.
Some rage bait actually brings you joy.
Yes, Gavin Newsom specifically. Only Gavin.
You know what? Because he knows the game and he's playing it to try to give it back to Trump.
And Trump can't take it.
And
it has worked.
And it has
totally worked.
Here's the sad part about this. When I heard the term, like you, Jess, I said, this is not a term that people are just running around. Like the term cringe, we hear that everywhere. I was like, oh, that should be the word of the year, at least according to my 11-year-old daughter. But I haven't heard people using the word rage baiting, although we, again, are all victims of it. So when I heard this word, I said, well, why don't we put accountability where it is? This is a very manipulative strategy done deliberately by big tech to keep our attention on social media apps. Let's call it what it is. And what works on social media? Everybody is fighting for our eyeballs. So what works is anger, rage, hate, provocation. So that is why they are putting it on there. And then I said, well, why is it increasing? Not only because they want us to keep online longer. If you actually take a look at the statistics, younger people are leading the way in declining social media usage, which is a beautiful thing. It peaked in 2022. Younger people are using social media less, and I think they're on to those tech companies. They don't want the manipulation.
I hope you're right.
And here's what I think is happening. I think they're turning against the obvious manipulation, and they don't want to walk around filled with rage, I don't
even think that's a young person thing, because I've done that. There have been times where I just want to lay on the couch and doom scroll, and as soon as I get rage bait, I go, this is a time to put the phone down.
I get it, but here's the thing, they're biohacking our amygdalas. Like the amygdala, we know, it's the part of the brain, it's fight or flight, and because kids are using it less, what are they doing? They're amping up the rage bait to try to keep us on longer because they're losing us.
But the manipulation, this is scary. It's not just the big tech companies and the algorithms, it's actual people. Did you guys see a story last week? It flew under the radar, but essentially X started testing this new feature that displays the country an account is posting from to increase transparency and hopefully combat misinformation. It blew up spectacularly. I'm talking accounts with tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of followers were revealed not to be from the countries that they said they were from. And so major MAGA influencers, major Gaza commentators turned out to be from Russia, Eastern Europe, Africa, India. There was one, a Canadian Alberta pro-sovereignty was from Thailand. Do you know what I mean? So it says this outrage is now, like, as you were saying, it is a business model, but not just for the tech companies, for everyday people. And I think what you said, just don't take the bait.
Yeah, I don't take the bait. As soon as, listen, I don't pick up my phone to be aggravated. I have the world, I have life to do that. If my phone is supposed to be a thing of pleasure, so as soon as I get rage baited, I'm like, time to put down the phone. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna move on to our next topic, because maybe you'll consider this next topic, rage bait. There's a human washing machine for sale in Japan. You climb in, water fills a tank, you get clean while watching and listening to nature sounds, and get this, it dries you off, and the whole process just takes 15 minutes. So, scrub-a-dub-dub, or would you use this machine? I see a lot of heads going, no, not one yes. Any yeses?
Any yeses?
I got two yeses. I got 2 yeses.
And that's what I'm thinking. I would do this in a heartbeat, but I want it to go further, because I read that it just uses micro bubbles and a fine mist. I want a car wash. You know, like those
like a washing machine.
Brushes.
You want brush cycles. You
I want it in the bits. I want to come out feeling reborn.
Jeez. I mean, to me, I don't know. No. I'm not in. It looks like a death trap to me. Like there's something. You saw the way that the top of that lid was kind of stiltingly come up to
like
me.
A coffin.
What else could go wrong in there? Like I think.
I have claustrophobia.
You get too clean? Like.
Or you can't get out.
If it had brushes. I have claustrophobia, so that as soon as that thing would start coming down, it's panic attack city. That's number one. I don't know if you noticed, that guy, he was like up to here in water. How do we know when it stops? Like, couldn't you just actually drown in there? There is one utility factor to this. I was thinking right away of vulnerable people, particularly the aged. And I do think for seniors, if you actually change the way you get in, because P.S., they cannot get in the way that it's designed right now.
They need help.
But if they change the way that you could get in, there are vulnerable people who are not able to bathe themselves. So I was like, I'm in for that.
In hospitals or seniors' homes, this would be fabulous. I have a phobia of anybody bathing me, because I had one experience at a spa where it's a Turkish bath, and so I went into this room with this woman, and I'm just laying on this cold table, and then she just started grabbing parts of my body and scrubbing me, like, you know the way you clean chicken before you season it and put it in the oven? That's what it felt like, and the room was cold, and I was like, this is supposed to be relaxing? So since then, nobody bathes me but me. This machine, thank you very much, leave it to the hospitals. No, I will scrub-a-dub-dub myself. This sounds like a problematic.
Could I get the number of that Turkish woman?
You know what? You would love that. You would love that. Not for me.
So if you're in a heated dispute with airline staff, do you ever think to pull out your phone and hit record? Because according to CBC News, passengers are within their legal right to film disputes, despite often being told otherwise by airline staff. So we want to talk about if recording customer service interactions is super helpful, or maybe it's super harmful. What do you guys think?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I certainly would never do it. I don't think I would ever do it. And maybe it's because I worked in customer service, and I would hate if somebody recorded me on one of my worst days of my worst interactions.
Or
and
if they're in the wrong.
Exactly.
And they're yelling at you.
Exactly. And if that went viral and then that becomes my defining act, like that seems rage baity, right? Like it seems like it's actually,
really does.
I don't think I would ever do it. Would you?
I have done it.
What?
Have done it. Okay, so the situation was actually with an airline. There was, I don't know, a full flight, 200-300 people. We were all in line, and you could see there were only 2 attendants that were checking people in, and people were starting to get nervous, and everyone starts looking at their watches, and it started to get really tense at the desk because you've got very angry customers, and you do have these 2 attendants. There's only 2 of them, but I don't think they were dealing with it very well either. They could have said, we're really sorry, we're gonna do our best, we're sorry we're late, there's only 2 of us. Instead, they were really snappy back at passengers, and I just was like, this is not going well. So I put it live on Twitter, and
no, you didn't.
And I called up the airline, and I said, what is happening here? This was high season. There was no excuse to have only 2 attendants. This was a disaster of their own making. Well, guess what happened? They tweeted me back. It said, thank you very much for letting us know. Within 10 minutes, there were 6 attendants checking us all in. Everybody was happy.
So
everybody made the flight.
Where were those other 4 hiding if they had the 6?
I don't know, but it worked.
That's
but also,
rage,
you
baby.
can only do that, I think, if you have a follower count. Like a regular person who it doesn't really engage with social media that much, I don't think they would have that kind of a power, and I think it would just fall on deaf ears.
Yes,
Maybe
absolutely.
that's like, I don't know.
But would you ever think about like filming that interaction? Like if you talk to one of the people, like the airline attendants, would you put a camera in their face?
Well, I don't know if you remember, we got stuck in LA once together when we were coming home from Disneyland. Do you remember what happened? They didn't have our seats and all these things.
Yes, I remember.
I regret that we did not record that.
Really?
I do, yeah, because that was a power imbalance, and we as the passengers, we already don't have a lot of rights here in North America. In Europe, they're doing a much better job protecting passengers. In North America, you can have a seat, not have a seat, and if they start coming at me like it's my fault, my phone's coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be helpful and it could be harmful. I think I worked customer service like you, Cynthia, so I'm immediately sensitive because you guys know the customer service people can't tell you, but it's a mixed bag of nuts out there. People are sometimes a little out of touch with reality. So the idea that everybody thinks now that this is gonna solve the issue where I'm like, I'm disagreeing with you and it's like, I'm gonna shove a camera in your face. Well, guess what's gonna happen? Now things were taken it to the next level. But then I also know that there are times that if the person did not record, we wouldn't have believed them. And I'm thinking about back in 2020, do you remember that bird watcher, Christian Cooper, and the dog walker, Amy Cooper, not related? And she had her dog off leash and he asked her, can you just put your dog on leash? And she immediately went into this rage and saying, I'm gonna call the police. This is her. I'm gonna call the police and tell them that an African-American man is harassing me, and she did this whole performance.
And
luckily,
strangling her dog
and strangling somebody else's dog. And she went on to make that call. And if he did not record that, this is in New York, and this is a black man, we know that that would have been a different situation. And recording that actually saved him. By the way, he went on to host a show called The Bird Watcher and win a daytime Emmy.
That's a win. You're right.
Which is like a win-win.
Recorded.
Talk about a time to bring out your camera.
Glad he recorded.
If there are lots of situations without that footage, would we believe her or would we believe him? We'd probably believe her.
But I mean, you know what's the sad thing is that how often do we actually record like good customer service, right? For that to go viral.
True. I just saw one the other day and I was like, why can't we do more of this?
Let's start doing that.
It was like a stranger at an airline desk. So this stranger witnessed something. It was a man and his daughter going to check in, and then apparently the daughter had turned the age where she wouldn't be able to just sit on his lap. So he had to buy an extra ticket for her. And the woman at the airline counter was like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, oh my God, I don't have this money. He stood to the side of the line. He's like, what are we gonna do? And the woman behind him said, hey, how much is that ticket? And bought it for the daughter. And a stranger filmed the whole thing. So the woman who bought the ticket didn't know she was being filmed or that she, like, that's something I would do. I would try to be a hero and then get it on camera.
Oh, really?
And then be like, oh my God, I didn't know you were filming me. But this woman was total altruistic. And I was like, why can't, let's film more of that.
We should try that.
Let's make that go viral.
Try that.
Okay. So today is the 20th anniversary of Cyber Monday, and record-breaking retail sales are actually forecasted. But a writer for The Atlantic argues that if we're gonna worship consumerism and consumption, we should at least do it together and bring back in-person door busters. So do you miss the experience of in-person discount shopping as a group together?
You don't.
Some of you do. Some of you do, and I think
it's
you're the same
50-50.
vintage as I am. Remember Boxing Day? Like when you were a teenager? Whole family would go to White Oaks Mall in London, Ontario. Maybe get an Orange Julius, maybe get some French fries, and we'd go to Beaver Canoe, Roots, the Polo Store, and like they were real deals. It was, I think I remember telling my parents, please don't get me anything for Christmas. Just give me some cash on Boxing Day so that I can get double the amount of gifts for half the price.
Smart kid, smart kid, smart kid. Most of us weren't thinking that way. You know what? This is not nostalgic because I still like to go to brick and mortar stores. I know it's very popular for everybody to go online, but I need to taste, smell, see, try on the things that I'm buying. And also, no one talks about when you buy things online. I don't know about you, but when I want something, I want it now. I don't want it a week from now. I don't want it 3 weeks from now. And if you get my order wrong and it's at my house in that package, and then I gotta do the whole repackaging to send it back, it's all a hassle. Whereas if I go to the mall, and what I do, here's my secret. If the mall opens at 10, 11, get there 1 minute before it opens, get all your shopping done, you know what you want, you're in and you're out, you can get the parking spot closest to the door, Bob's your uncle. And then you know what? We also keep our malls alive because I hate to see every time I go to a mall and I see more department stores closing, I'm like, this is so sad. Please go back to the mall. People, we need to keep our malls.
It is sad. I hear you.
We need to keep our malls.
It is sad. But let's just be honest, the lines and the chaos and the breathing in of other people's like coffee breaths.
It's like an adventure.
No, I just feel like it would
people.
bring out the feral side. Just on those days, it would bring out a really, really feral side of people.
Do you know why? I think because most people make a huge mistake. They wear their coats into the mall.
Oh, and
leave
they're
your coat in the car.
Don't
bring your coat in. Don't bring your coat.
I would have to learn from all of you. I was never the family. I guess maybe because we were way out in the country. I never had this. I would just watch it on the news and go, I never want to be those people. All I just saw were people fighting. Now we just fight online. Back then, we used to be fighting in the store. And I'm like, is that TV really worth that? Because you're fighting like a crazy person.
No, back then, those deals were, the deals now, I have another complaint. The deals now, this 20% off nonsense, that's not a deal, by the way.
Yes.
We used to push and shove and almost kill each other because you got 75 to 80% off that TV. And I will shove you for that discount.
All right, do you live your life on Do Not Disturb, meaning you've silenced all the breaking news alerts on your phone, message notifications, and your screen is not lighting up constantly? Well, there's a writer for GQ who argues that you do not need to be notified about anything at all. In fact, the average person, they actually check their phone, they say, at least 200 times a day. You will eventually see any message that's coming your way. So let's ask the question, do you use your Do Not Disturb function on your phone?
No. Oh, I live by it. I live by it. The only thing that comes up on my screen is a text from either my mom or Simon. The other texts just sort of go, and then I happen to check in and be like, oh, someone's texted me. That's it.
Wow.
That's the only ones I use. So no notifications.
No notifications. Yeah, I don't know how. I got a new phone and I don't know how to set that. I gotta get on. I don't know how to. It's like the VCR, you know, like that flashing thing. That's what I'm kind of like.
But you're a mom. Do you think it's a wise thing to be in Do Not Disturb? Your son's at school.
No, I'm
something
not.
could be
I
happening.
want to
You
Do Not Disturb.
Parents,
I'm not on Do Not Disturb. I want to be.
You can adjust.
I'm disturbed.
You are disturbed.
You are disturbed.
You want to be, but I'm just saying, like, you have a lot of people that you're connected to and something could be happening. And if you're on Do Not Disturb, they cannot
You can
reach
adjust it so that you can be reached. So on my Do Not Disturb, when I turn it on, my husband and my parents can still reach me. So you can adjust it.
It seems like a lot of work.
It's not a lot of work. No, I'll teach you after the break. I'll teach you after the break. But I would say
you use your online a lot for a lot of the things that you do. What about for the online stuff? Not just them.
Here's the thing. If we go back, we're still of the generation that we were born and raised without any tech, okay? So we still remember that the only way someone could get you is if they caught you at home and they called your landline. Otherwise, you were unreachable.
Yes.
It sounds crazy today.
Yeah, it does.
But today, because we are literally reachable on any corner of the planet 24/7, the luxury now is to choose to opt out of being contactable. So I did this by accident the other day. I was recording a podcast at home, and I do Not Disturb so nobody interrupts me. I forgot to turn it back on. I went to bed that night, and I just went, it's been so quiet. It's so nice. And I realized I didn't turn it on. Even though I panicked, I went, I need to do this more often. My nervous system really likes doing that.
I'm the opposite. My nervous system is like, listen, I think I used to do this, and then there comes a time where you miss an important call from a family member or a friend or from your bank letting you know that someone's using your credit card. If you have Do Not Disturb on, these are all the messages that you are not getting. Also, I come from news and I always want to know what's going on. If something big happens, I do want that notification. So the turning off, listen, I can put down my phone. When I go to sleep, I put my phone charging in another room, and because I do need to decompress. But during the day, I always want to know what's going on. If anything happens to my family members and I miss that, I'm telling you, you will be gut-wrenched.
I hear you. Do you worry though? What I'm noticing in myself is that I am like my attention is fragmented, right? Yes. I have the hardest time. This has started in COVID. I can see people who are nodding, where I felt like I had a really ability to be present and be able to concentrate and be able to listen, be able to focus. Then I suddenly couldn't read books, and then said I was constantly. It's this addictive
digital
spiral.
snacking.
It is, and so the more that you have those notifications on, oh, this breaking news happened, oh, this sale is on, oh, this message, it's just this constant feeding of like frantic need to connect with this invisible data.
I haven't read a book in 6 months, I don't think. 5 months? I haven't read a page. Garbage. forgot how to read.
So this is a problem for all of us, guys. And
there's a cost to it.
There's a cost.
No.
Yeah,
there
we
is a
have to
cost
take
to
back
it.
some control.
The way that I balance it is I do not have the do not disturb on, but when I'm doing something, say I'm at dinner, my phone is in my purse.
So you
I'm
just
giving you
leave
that
it
You
out.
at least kill the ringer.
I kill the ringer, and I'm also, when I do hear the notification, I also don't have that feeling that I have to look at the phone right away. I can hear the ding and be like, I can get to that. Finish your sentence.
You're
and I think people have
stronger
lost.
than us.
Okay.
You're stronger than us because they actually design apps with the people who design the slot machines in casinos.
Ding, ding, ding,
Those bells and rings and lights are by design to pull us back to our phones. So that is amazing that you can actually overcome your own brain.
I do that because I've had people do that to me where I'm in a conversation, their phone dings, and they immediately, without saying a word to me, go to their phone. And it's so rude. So I'm like, I would tell someone, I'm like, no, that went off. Finish your sentence. We're having a conversation. Because we have to remember, we still have to have social graces when we are with people. This doesn't come first. The person you're talking to comes first. You can look at your phone afterwards, right?
But that very thing has happened to me as well, where someone has picked up the phone and it has been a family member and it has been something to do with their kid. So it kind of feels like, do you know what I mean? Like we either put it away or
have some self-control in both.
have some
Self-control. Look at that. That should be the word of the year, Oxford University.
Self-control.
Self-control.
We don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I don't know her.
knows what that is.
I don't know her.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.